Hi there, a very warm greetings for the day or evening or night, depends on the time at which you are seeing this. So, I am your presenter for today's session, and my session will be about JAMOVI. It's a wonderful software, and it's only a demo presentation. So, a little brief about me. You can see the two HTML links. These are addresses of my ORCID ID and PubMed ID. Apart from that, I am an associate professor in Department of Preventive and Social Medicine based in Dhanbad. Dhanbad is the coal capital of India, based in Jharkhand, and the college name is Sahid Nirmal Mahto Medical College and Hospital. Before I go in depth in the slides, this is about the contents of the presentation. So I'll be talking right from the start but why maths is necessary to understand the variability which is existing in the living world. So basically the slides have been arranged in a way where I'll be starting with the pictures, and the pictures will be giving you a glimpse about the variability which exists in the living world, and it will be followed by obstacles which were faced by our early predecessors. There we will have pictures which will capture the obstacles they faced, the hurdles they faced, the dilemmas, the barriers which were existing at that time, and how without maths they found it very hard to make things generalizable, make things easily understandable, make things easily predictable even in the variability of living world. The slides will take you further towards the first known instance of how maths help to understand biology. Moving ahead, we will take a look at the various calculators which were used by our early predecessors. I will talk very briefly about them, and I will follow the journey with computer journey. I will talk very briefly about a chapter which I have contributed in a book which basically documents how public health and computer are linked from the very early days. And then this will all be followed by the features of JAMOVI. I'll give a sneak peek in the JAMOVI software where you can download it, what are the supporting OS on which you can run it. I will also tell a little bit about the JAMOVI software with the pictures of JAMOVI, and I will also give you a picture of its working ease. So coming to my first slide, as we all know, when we talk about planets, when we talk about other things, we can predict. We can predict because most of the times they are going to follow the same path. They are going to follow the same pre destined routes which humans have observed, and which humans can say that okay, if the star is shining in this side and if it is going to move in a certain way, it is going to do it again and again. They can say that if the sun is going to rise in east, it is going to set in west. It is going to happen daily, on a daily basis. But when we talk about living things, nobody knows which way an ant will be moving. Nobody knows which way the tiger will be moving. Yes, everybody knows that they will be moving towards food, but again the food is again moving. So when we talk about living world, it is not exactly 2 plus 2. It can be in biology 1 plus 1 can be 11, 2 plus 2 can be 22. Nobody knows how it will behave. But having said all this, we do know that if we have maths to help us, it can be understood in a better way. So living world, the variability is shown in this picture. Moving ahead, we just saw how variable are the various living organism, and what to say about this picture, that even in one species you are having so many variations. Like this picture is basically of the different types of mage. And what do I say about this picture? We all are homo sapiens sapien, but so many colors, so many sizes, so many textures, so many differences are among us. So many differences are among me, you, and all those who are listening to this. And when we talk about how the living organism are going to grow, how they are going to survive, what are the various interactions, how they are part of various system, how they are going to progress, there are so many intricately connected networks, there are so many intricately connected systems which are at play. And just imagine the difficulty to predict how things will materialize. Just imagine the difficulty to understand how things are interrelated. Just imagine the difficulty of understanding and coming to a conclusion how things are working. Because when you see that this picture, you will see that there is interaction of sunlight, the sugars which are made inside the plant, the carbon dioxide which is being released, the oxygen which is being produced by the plant, so carbon dioxide, and the water which is being used by the plant. So there are lots of intricately connected mechanisms which ultimately gives the oxygen by the plants. Moving ahead, I am just reiterating the fact that without using maths, it's very hard to predict what are going to be the final outcomes. And this challenge was not missed by our early scientists. This was well understood by our early scientists, early thinkers, early philosophers, or whatever you might like to say them, because they immensely did things which are helping us even today. And to take example, suppose one wants to understand how humans are constructed, or how humans are inside, or what are the arrangements of liver, what are the arrangements of kidney inside your body, then you will have to obviously dissect open the body, and to understand it you will have to closely maybe count so many corpses or so many dead men to understand what organs are placed at what place. But you will understand that when we talk about opening human body, it is not so simple. And in earlier times it was more difficult. So look at this picture. So this is a picture which is very intriguing and interesting in itself. Here you can see this is the watchman who has caught this guy who was basically digging out the corpse, and he is saying that, well, you have caught me, but I am not doing this digging up activity on my own. I am being told to do this by this fellow, and this fellow is none other than, I will tell you in the latter slide. So this is none other than William Hunter, and William Hunter is one a big name, and he is the one who gave immense intricate details about human uterus. So just understand to the importance of this picture, that how things were so difficult in earlier times, that when the anatomist decided to give the knowledge how human uterus is working, or what is the structure of human uterus, he has to undergo so many things, so many plights he went to make things understood by everyone. Moving ahead, this slide is again a very good description of how things were hard to understand. You can see a pig is being dissected by various scientists or physicians, and you can see others are waiting in line with more bodies. And this was nothing but Galen's detailed anatomical description. So Galen was again ancient Greek physician, and they had this wonderful for those times galleria or spectacle, where physicians of those times came to those places and they discussed what organ are inside the body, how it is placed, etc., etc. If you want to go in detail, obviously you can go to internet and look for details. Even I have given references for my figures, so you will find details over there. Idea is that earlier when people started to understand, they wanted to know how things are inside the body, they had to rely on more figures. And when today we want to understand things, we rely more on charts, tables, and scientific calculations. So this is a gross or major difference between earlier understanding and today's understanding. And where it started, well, you all have read about the Mendelian experiment, the famous Greek Gregor Mendel and his piece. So just this is a snippet from his publication of 1865 or 1866. Sorry, the publication was in 1865. These pages are translated from the original language in which the publication was published, and you can see how he has meticulously detailed the ratio. If you see, the ratios are here. So you see 3:1, the ratios are given, and I will further elaborate this in again next slide. So just to reiterate how painfully he has given the numbers, you can see the offspring of 36 plants yielded this thing. So experiment 1, 2, 3, how painstakingly he has documented everything, and he has used maths. You can see the probability equations he has given. So all this he did at those times, 1865. So he did it to understand how the peas and the colors of peas were differing. And if you see the inference, you will see that modern days the Punnett square literally says that the proportion 3:1 was there. So for you can see how like violet flowers, white flowers were mixed to get a hybrid progeny, and this hybrid progeny was giving violet flowers and white flowers, and this ratio was 3:1. And he observed that in most of the cases the ratio remains the same, and we all know how important it was and how he was able to give the 3 law of genetics. Idea is again that he used maths to make inferences, and that holds good to so many scenarios. And how maths was used in those times, so earlier it was about the abacus. I'm not going to go in details about the abacus, obviously. Moving ahead, we have the earliest calculators from Pascal in 1648. This is Burckhardt arithmeter in 18 somethings. And moving ahead, the various I think you might not be aware what are these, but let's see. This is the Charles Babbage earliest computer. This is the again IBM precursor, shall I say, and this is the machine which was designed in World War II to basically calculate more complex problems. And if you want to go in detail about these things, you can buy this book, and this is my chapter which has detailed how these things were used in public health. So moving ahead, obviously when you have computers, but in earlier computers there were no memory. Whatever you do, you move the handle and then the calculations are done, but they are of limited in nature and there was no memory. So slowly after the advent of computers, we had this democratizing the calculation by the help of VisiCalc, which later on evolved in Excel. And if we talk about further times, the wonderful softwares SPSS and SAS. The problem with SPSS and SAS, they are paid softwares. You do run it, but illegally, because you use the crack version, and nowadays even crack versions are very hard to learn. But what is the alternative? because these are very powerful softwares and you have got multiple advantages. So what is the alternative? So this is one wonderful alternative, JAMOVI. So JAMOVI is a standalone software. It is R based software. It is a free software, and you can throw it multiple tasks, and it will do it easily, right from doing the calculations to meta-analysis. And you must be aware that meta-analysis was not available earlier for spaces. Now it is there, but in JAMOVI you can do meta-analysis and even umbrella reviews. So you can see these are the various software, or shall I say, of OS operating systems like Windows and Mac OS, so available for both. And this is the frame of the software. So you can see there are various things which comes up, and it can be added having more things, like you can add R script editor, R plus script editor, and you can add more modules if you go explore this plus sign JAMOVI software. And here I am just giving you a sneak peek about how the things look. Suppose you click on the analysis, then it will throw these descriptives. You can see the descriptives are coming. It will give you descriptives for any one variable, like this n missing, how many numbers are missing, means what the mean is, what the median is, what the standard deviation is, so on. And if you do further analysis like I have done here, it will quickly give you the frequencies, the descriptives. You just have to click one thing. Obviously when we meet later, I will do these things, and these are just powerful demonstration of how easily you can have one variable. You just point this variable here, and it will quickly give you descriptives and frequency. In this case, it is giving us the frequency of age, like age 17 how many times, age 18 how many times, and so on. And it is giving you also percentage total and cumulative total. So that's all for the demo classes. Next time when we meet, we will have more details.